Hello, welcome back to Mick.com. Today we got through a lot more about AI, so really cool. Um, yeah, machine learning basically has two phases, right? This is the process of training these models, these AI models, and getting it. No, I guess there's two phases. The first phase is the training phase, where a model basically finds patterns in the data that it's given. And then the second phase is the training phase. And then I don't remember what the second phase is called. It's like the output phase, where it analyzes new data and then outputs a result based on the basically the models, the patterns it found in the training phase. There's three learning paradigms for machine learning. There's supervised, there's unsupervised, and then there is um, reinforcement. So supervised learning is basically where you're feeding um, a model data that has like maybe like labels, or you to give it data and tell it what it should output, so that it can take new information and then output based on the categories or labels you've defined. Unsupervised learning, that's where you're basically not giving it any labels or outputs. You're just giving it a bunch of data and it's finding patterns and grouping things into um, its own categories based on patterns and themes. And then reinforcement learning. Um, and this is where you're basically letting the AI go out and do something on its own and learn from feedback, positive and negative feedback, such as one that really stands out to me like this is like video games. Like you can let it train on the video games, and if it loses, then it gets negative feedback. If it wins, it gets positive feedback, and then it can, over enough iterations, it can develop really sophisticated, advanced, optimized strategies for the game. I also learned about uh, what was it? Something assessment. Um, I can't remember if it was. I think it was in. I think it was in supervised learning. It's like there's a term for it now. I think it starts with an R. Maybe it's sentiment assessment. So basically, you can take words and decide is it positive, negative, neutral, like feedback from like a review or something. That's something we want to actually implement. That's something we had in mind for one of our automations. So that's good to know that that's like there's a term, sentiment analysis or something along those lines. Um, Sentiment assessment, and that AI models are already trained to do that. Um, yeah, there's a lot of other applications, but we'll keep moving. So we completed the first unit on what AI is. Then we got into what LLMs are. LLMs are large language models. These are, oh shoot, well, we also talked about Gen AI, generative AI. And generative AI is like AI that basically creates new things, new text, new sounds, new images, um, based on the patterns it learned from its training phase. And generative AI is like trained on tons of data. And this is what the ChatGPT, Gemini, and these other large language models are built on, or what they are. They're Gen AI, generative AI, Mid Journey for images. Yeah. Anyway, let's continue now to the LLM unit. What are LLMs? So LLMs are large language models. And we just talked a little bit, I just didn't get far into it, but I read a little bit about neural networks. So LLMs use neural networks, which are the way that the model is structured to process data essentially and to work. And it's modeled off of neural networks in the brain. And they have nodes, and information gets passed from node to node, and the next node reprocesses the information and then passes it on the new information. to the next node, and it goes through the nodes, and then it outputs the final data. So it's like a neural network is like how the model's architecture is structured. But yeah, this is all this stuff I really have never talked about. So these are new things that I'm learning. I've heard about some of these things before, but now I'm actually starting to develop understanding and information and knowledge about them. So that's cool. This was an extremely long video for make.com. Usually these are only a minute long. So, this was information dense. It was also, all theory based. So there's a lot of information. But that's it for today. Talk to you guys later. See ya.